Welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. I asked what this reading was going to be about, and what I heard is release of information. Okay, first and foremost, it's Formosa. Actually, let me see what that even means. What does that mean? Beautiful island. It's an obsolete name for Taiwan. Uh-oh. What? Okay. This. Now I'm kind of worried. What's this have to do with Taiwan? Okay. Something about Formosa. Because I've nonstop since I've been sitting here trying to get everything ready to go live. I keep hearing the word Formosa, 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 Formosa. It means beautiful. And it's actually a name of an island, I guess. Formosa means beautiful island and is an obsolete name for Taiwan. The name comes from the Portuguese Ilha Formosa, which was used by sailors in 1542 to describe the island they discovered. Oh my God. I spoke to someone about Taiwan recently. Okay, let's see where this goes. Let's see where this goes, because now I'm kind of freaked out. There's a lot of stuff going on about Taiwan, isn't it? Yeah, I think so. Okay, let's see where this takes us, because now I'm actually weirded out. Not in a bad way, but just kind of curious. I'm curious. I'm curious what this could possibly mean. And I'm even more curious as to why we need to know about Isla Formosa. I don't know. We're going to find out. We're definitely going to find out. So, okay, what are some other meanings for Formosa? It's also a surname in Malta. You know, they have you ever heard of the Giants of Malta? Hold on. Let's see. It means beautiful. There has to be something else about it. I don't know what though. I don't know what it means, but it's really weirding me out. It's really weirding me out. Okay. So there's information that's going to be released. Keep in the back of your head Formosa, Taiwan. And then we'll see what happens. Ooh, what's this? Ooh, boundaries. Okay. It's going to have to do with boundaries, right? Oh my God. Are they going to start stuff in Taiwan? Are any of you into geopolitics? I'm not into politics, anything, at all. At all. But I'm wondering if this is something to do with some type of geopolitics that's happening. Because remember, we were talking the other day about the resurgence of Baal, right? Baal. And he's governed by the cardinal direction demon of the East, and then it mentioned the Orient. So I'm assuming it has something to do with that. I'm assuming this is some type of information that we're going to need to know. It has to do with boundaries. And I'm wondering if it's more about boundary lines than it is about like emotional boundaries. So current events Taiwan. What the what? What is Taiwan just had an earthquake? Oh my god. Oh, I'm just in on May 1st, they had an earthquake, a 7.4 magnitude. Current events Taiwan, October 2024. What's happening now? There's something going on. A typhoon slammed into Taiwan, bringing mudslides. I don't I don't want to know anymore. I just don't. I don't want to know anymore. Let's just I would rather talk about twin flames than any more destruction and loss of life. There's something to do with boundaries, right? Whatever these boundaries are, we need to be aware. We need to be aware there's something being done to shift and adjust boundaries, I suppose. There's something that is very questionable that's happening, something very questionable, right? So, what is it that needs to happen right now? Um, Did my audio suddenly go away? Did it suddenly go super low? Suddenly went super low. Testing, 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 testing. Okay. All right. I'm just pulling cards at this point. I don't even want to know anymore. I'm kind of just though. Everything's upside down. Can we just? Mm, all right. Um, there's a lot of attempts to initiate something through to winter, rebirth and banishment, right? It's almost like this thing of whatever we're trying to get rid of so that we can come into a new space, a new way of existing, a new life. It is fighting. It is fighting back. It does not want to allow us the opportunity to get to a point where um, we can very easily facilitate the coming through of a new life, a new existence, right? So, what needs to happen now is something that we need to really pay attention to because guess what? If we continue on this same trajectory, our winter period, the season of winter is going to be very, very upside down. We cannot allow that. We can, but I don't want to. I don't want to allow that. I just don't want to allow that. I think in the next few weeks, we're going to see the ways in which all of these things have kind of been playing out behind the scenes. And we're going to be able to see the ways in which our lives have been very heavily manipulated because of concealment. Someone is going to start talking. Someone is going to start sharing with all of us all of these ugly things that are being done kind of on our behalf without our consent. This is too much of a topic for me, to be honest. This is too much of a topic for me. Um, like, oh, look at my skin. My skin is looking fabulous, is it not? Did you guys just see that something go across the screen? Okay. Listen. Listen. Can we just rewind the world and our existence back to a space of just like nonsensical messages about twin flame stuff? Can we do that? Because this is getting very intense. Like I can feel energy shifting, and this energy that's shifting, it's going to bring an end to things because the death card usually is about endings, but I'm concerned that it's also going to be something literal. And I really don't want that. I'm really like super good off all of that. Like I don't want to participate in any of that, right? And this is something we're not calling forward. This is not something that we are um trying to make a part of our reality. This is something that we need to begin realizing. Things that happen in another place on this earth eventually affects you, right? You've been watching a storm brewing a little off Alaska. I was wondering, when are they going to do something to Califas, to California? Because if they're doing something to Taiwan, I mean, it's just a little bit of a hop skip from Taiwan across the Pacific. And what little I know about storms, um, landfall causes it to slow down, but when it is on water, it doesn't really have much to slow it down and dissipate. So my husband just entered my office and did some pelvic air thrusts. Can you do it again? I'd like to see it again. Thank you. Just, yeah, right. Do the helicopter dance. Whoa! Whoa! I like it. Close my door, sir. I'm just gonna leave that alone. Okay, yeah, see what I'm saying? These are all like, so I guess what we're being told is that we need to understand more conflict is coming. There is a release of information that's coming through, and it is causing tremendous amounts of potentiality for even more conflict. Even more conflict. See, they don't want change. We're trying to initiate change and they don't want to, right? They just don't want. They also don't want us to resist some of the things that they're trying to bring forward. What are the things they're trying to bring forward? I don't know. It's partially hidden because there's that vision of the moon, right? There's a depiction of the moon, and usually the moon, see what I'm saying? Again, the moon. Again, the moon. So much about the moon. The moon, the moon, the moon. Um, there are things that are being hidden. And as information begins coming through, we need to allow ourselves to think critically, critical thinking, and allowing ourselves to connect the dots when possible. So there's something to do with Taiwan. Wait. Do they do exports? Number one export Taiwan. What do they? Machinery and electronics, metals, plastics, and rubber. Um, semiconductors, petrochemicals, automobile, auto parts, ships, wireless communication equipment, flat panel displays, steel, electronics, plastics, computers. Those are what they export, semiconductors and petrochemicals. Is it like a tactical maneuvering? Do we get weaponry parts from Taiwan? Hold on. Y'all, just like the way my brain works, Um, Taiwan export, um, weapon parts. Oh, wow. The first thing that pops up from September 16th, 2024. U.S. approves possible military sale to Taiwan. The return, repair, and reshipment of spare parts will be transferred from U.S. government stock. Defense industry of Taiwan has produced fighter aircraft, missile systems, surface ships, radars. I don't want to know this. I don't want to know any of this. Oh my fucking God. The U.S. State Department said on Monday it approved a possible foreign military sale to Taiwan of spare parts valued at about 228 million, which Taiwan's military said will help maintain combat readiness in the face of China's gray zone intrusions. The return, repair, and reshipment of spare parts will be transferred from U.S. government stock, the State Department said in a statement, adding that Taiwan's military will have no difficulty absorbing this equipment into its armed forces. The United States is Taiwan's most important supporter and arms supplier, despite its lack of formal ties with the island. Taiwan's defense ministry expressed its thanks for the arms sale package, which it said it expected to become effective within a month. Within a month, we are arming Taiwan. Okay. This is a military maneuvering. This is a military maneuvering. Card number 33, blossoming. You see that you see that you see that violin that she's holding. Do you know violins, the sound of violins, the frequency, the audible tonation of a violin produced by the strings are very comparable to the actual audible communication of angelics. Are you guys aware of that? That's how they sound when they choose to verbally articulate communication. You see how it's slightly dark, and then there's the moon, again, a message of hiding, right? What's hidden is being illuminated. This is telling me that something else is pulling the strings, something that's staying hidden, but is the one who is playing the song. I just, yeah. Card number 34. It's the next step. Hot moon. Things are about to get real hot. Weapons hot. Right? I don't know if you guys have ever been to a range, but when you hear weapons hot, that means you better get out the way. You better not go down into that range because Stay behind the table. People are taking their pew-pews off of safety. Range hot. That's what we used to say when we used to go to an outdoor range. Range hot. That means you are at high risk. You do not go past that line. Everyone has to stay behind the line because now everyone who is there, their weapon is ready. If you go to a very responsible outdoor range, what ends up happening is um, before anyone can go um, down their row, down their lane, all the people who are there at the range, they have to lock their weapon. It has to be locked, like fully cocked, right? Fully open. The slider has to be fully open and locked in place with the safety on. And the weapon has to be put down and nobody touching anything. So it's kind of like they're taking us from that position where no one will be able to do any quick maneuvering and create destruction, and putting us into a position where weapons hot, which means now everyone has released their sliders. There is one loaded into the chamber, and people are now actively handling their weaponry. We are entering into a position of extremes. That's the next step. Something that is celestial, angelic, probably fallen angelic, is the one pulling the strings. Because guess what? What makes a violin sing? The reverberation of the strings. God, this is just. All right. So there are those who are paying attention kind of behind the scenes. I don't know if they're like watchdogs or something like that. Card number 22, wisdom. So there are those who stand atop a tower of wisdom. Excuse me, having done the work to climb to higher levels of understanding and awareness. And they are reaching for the stars, or maybe they are calling to them the assistance of other celestials. I don't know. Everything is kind of confusing and obscured because of this fog. We don't know if this boat has sailed. We don't know if the boat has sailed for someone who has the capacity to reach out to celestials, to kind of call them in on our behalf and have them help us. I'm going to be honest, you guys. At no point, and I'm given so many precognitive hits about all sorts of different future events and potentialities. At no point, not a single vision has ever involved something outside of us, the humans, correcting this very, very distorted and very toxic use of power. At no point have I ever seen aliens coming to help us. I know there's quite a few people in like these different types of communities online who are waiting for the good angelics and the good aliens to come and help. And mm, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. The only angels you're probably going to see are the ones that are created by holographic projections in the sky. The free range aliens, and I'm talking about aliens that are not in cahoots with the US government or any other government. They're free range, right? They kind of just do their own thing. They're only here in the capacity of observation. Because I think someone needs to say it at this point, you know? I think someone just really needs to say it at this point. Yeah. So, you know, a lot of what needs to happen, I think it's already happening. 222, 10, 11, 222. There's a lot of stuff, you guys. I just want some good news. I just do. I just want some good news. Hunger, wolf moon. This desire for more power, this hunger for more control, it's gone so upside down. It's gone so upside down. Y'all, we got to do something about this. I don't know what we need to do. I am not about lobbying and politics and all of that. I'm just not. Um there is maneuvering that's happening that I don't even know how to say it. I don't want to say it. Mm. It's really endangering everyone. All of this stuff that's happening, it is endangering everyone. It is a lot of backdoor deals that I know nothing about, and I don't want to know. I have zero desire to know. But for those who are into that subject matter, there's a lot of backdoor deals that are happening. And a lot of what we need to do is not really being done. So we need to enter into a space where we can depend on each other. We can depend on ourselves and depend on each other and have that dependability be something that creates more safety for all of us, more opportunity for growth and healing and sacred existence. Mm. Something wicked is just happening. I can really feel it. It's a wickedness that's kind of just poking and prodding, seeing the areas of the world where it can initiate conflict, the areas in your life where it can initiate conflict. And if you are someone who is not willing to participate in conflict for your personal journey, for your life, um, it might use people who have access to you, people who are friends, people who are family, accessing you, coming to you, wanting to get you to agree to be involved in conflict that does not involve you. You know, I was talking to someone very near and dear to me earlier today while I was doing some other things, and I had presented a circumstance and I had asked them to kindly assess and share with me the feel of what this energy is, because I'm like, something is off. And I think we both kind of came to the conclusion that the thing that was off is that there is a jumper type of being. Do you guys know what a jumper is? Ball is a jumper. A jumper is a demonic being that has the capacity to use multiple hosts. It just jump skips. It jump skips. That means it's cleared to use organic portal number 3, and then it sees an opportunity that would require a different positioning, a different person. So it'll just jump into maybe organic portal number 9. And when number 9 no longer serves the purpose in the most efficient manner, oh, guess what? 7 works. 7 is closer to the center point, to the bullseye. Let's use 7. A good example of this, for those of you who can relate, this is a hypothetical situation. You're in this relationship for quite some time. Well, let's say like 3 years. That's a considerable time for most relationships at this point. You're in a 3-year relationship, and it's just something that has become really yucky. It's a super toxic circumstance. You're losing yourself. You're feeling disrespected. You're feeling unloved and just, poorly treated. And so you're like, you have this moment of clarity and you're like, you know what, this relationship has to end. It's very unhealthy for me. I need to get healthy. They need to get healthy. And it's done. So you break up. And then you take the time you think you need to address what you believe needs to be addressed. And now you're ready to be in another relationship. And your next relationship starts off lovely, as most relationships do. It starts off lovely, but this time it's only been maybe 6 months, and it's like, whoa, you're saying the same hurtful things as my ex. You're doing the same hurtful things, inconsiderate things, full on malignant things that my ex did. What the hell is going on here? Am I just tripping? Am I imagining this? And of course, I'm going to bring it up to you, and you're going to be like, you're fucking crazy. I'm nothing like your ex. How dare you compare me to your ex? I'm so good to you. That guy was horrible to you. And now I'm like, oh my God, you're so right. I'm so sorry. You're nothing like my ex. Except more time goes by and they're doing the same fucking thing that your ex was doing. And now you don't want this. You don't want this. And so you go through the process to break up, which is hard on you because you're empathic and you're sensitive and it hurts you to walk away and you feel like you've given up too early because wait, but your ex got 3 years and it's only been like 8 months. Like, am I giving up too soon? Is this too early? Like, oh my God, am I the asshole? Except everything in you says, I'm not doing this again. I did this already. I did this for 3 years. I'm not doing this again. So you break up. And now you're thinking, all guys are assholes. They all do this. They all cheat. They all like verbally mistreat me. They all make me feel like crap. Is it really all? Or is it a case of you being drawn to the reverberation of the same demonic that took over your ex? And now it's jumped into your more recent ex. And if you don't address what needs to be addressed, it's going to jump into your next future ex and the next future ex. That's a jumper, babe. That's a jumper. Because you still carry within you some type of pocket of reverberation that draws this towards you. And because it's what's familiar, you automatically assume, like, oh my God, I'm in love with you. And I'm just like, no, boo, I'm not in love. I know this energy. This is some caca. Oh, wow. My relative is an organic portal. Me and my son lived there way too long. We're out now, but last 2 months, my son is acting exactly like relative did. Jumped into your son. There is a high probability it jumped into your son. Yeah. This is not something you're going to be able to alchemically change. This is something you can't just like snap your finger who you think you is. Thanos. Is you Thanos? Thanos. And you can't just at the snap of a finger change this. This needs to be dug out of you. I feel like a lot of what's happening in this world is us holding pockets of resonance towards types of circumstance, theaters of war that our elders, our forefathers thought that they had already squashed for us, the future generations. Yet it's now back. It is here again. It is back. It is wanting to come forward. It is wanting to come to full fruition. And it's like we don't have the clarity that's needed. We don't have all the details because we don't want to see exactly what it is that's happening. We are choosing to believe that burying our head in the sand is going to fix the problem. If we ignore it long enough, then it doesn't exist. No, if you ignore it long enough, then it becomes worse and you can't ignore it anymore. If you're still seeing your life from this perspective of simply being a human, then I think you're going to miss the greater picture. And the greater picture is that you have dealt with these types of fallen angelics for many lifetimes. They follow you through lifetimes. For specific types of people, these fallen angelics follow you through lifetimes, and they serve their purpose in your life by creating the types of conflict and struggle that will cultivate the parts of your character and the aspects of your gifts, your profound, elevated abilities in such a way that makes it finely tuned for the purpose you're in this life to live. Yes. So, what needs to happen? Whatever needs to happen, time is taking care of it, meaning time as it passes is simply making sure that these events take place. For many of us, we think it's a very spiritual thing to have the perception that we have. Perception is filtered through trauma. The limitations and distortions that were created as you experience something traumatic, those end up becoming the very filters that you use to see a circumstance. And as you use those filters, it defines your perception of what's happening. Perception is kind of like viewing something based on your opinions, your personal opinions. Perspective, on the other hand, it's about your positioning on the mountain. The higher you are on that mountain, the more capacity you have to see what needs to be seen. And it's seen from a space of clarity, not a space of trauma. Your trauma filters are not involved in perspective. There's a difference between perspective and perception. They are not um, analogous or synonymous. They're not the same thing. They're not interchangeable. They're two completely different things. So we're being tasked by soul to begin seeing life from a space of perspective rather than from a position of limited perception. There's things that are going to happen, and you're going to need to maintain your integrity. Okay. You're going to need to make sure that you continue to operate from a space where you are choosing what is in the highest good for everyone involved, not just how can you benefit. There is some not so goodness happening. Do you guys feel that vibration? It's kind of like the low throat, higher chest, and it's like continuing to work its way down, lower and lower and lower. Okay. It just really sucks because the last several days, the messages have been very dense, very low frequency, high vibration, trying to make you become more densified through fear. And it's almost like this thing of, um, I don't know, I'm suddenly picking up on anxiety. And it's almost like whoever I'm picking up on, they're approaching the cusp of having a full blown anxiety attack where the nose, the face is starting to go numb, starting to go tingly. I feel the tingles in the hands. They're starting to do lobster claw, like when you go and experience some very, let me zip this up, some very elevated levels of anxiety. What ends up happening is your breathing pattern is altered. And that breathing pattern causes you to have a higher degree, a higher concentration of oxygen versus carbon. There's a ratio that needs to be kept in place. And as that gets to be thrown further off track, you then go deeper and deeper into a space of anxiety attack. And as that happens, the oxygen content, it causes your hands to kind of cramp into this type of positioning. That's an anxiety attack. That's a panic attack that's occurring. Okay? So what is this? I think it's trying, something is trying to get all of us to feel as though we have no other options. And in that, we are stuck experiencing worst case scenario stuff. And it's going to destroy us. It's going to destroy the world. That's not true. That's not true. It might get messy. But I mean, birth is messy, isn't it? Birth is messy. Um, Ew. What the fuck? Manipulator. Holy fucking shit. Jesus loves me. Oh, yes, he does. Jesus loves me. Oh, yes, he does. I just saw something yucky. So that's telling me it's someone that I once knew that shit ended in an ugly way. uh, so shit ended in an ugly way for that circumstance. And it's almost like this thing of a message letting me know that we are being presented an option of returning back into a space of fakery, fuckery, foolery, pretending, internalized toxicity. I'm not willing to. I am not willing to. I'm not willing to go back to that space. That space of having overgiven, overloved, being fully present, fully supportive, an actual genuine friend, not wanting anything in return, only to be accused and all kind of different, really fucked up shit, right? No. Is this a message of me needing to heal that so that I can forgive and go? There's nothing to forgive. There just isn't. So, in my personal circumstance that I feel is being used as an example, in that personal circumstance, I was the most genuine friend I could possibly be. I mean, you guys imagine, you see how I am with our community, how much my love for our community causes me to do certain things like protect, provide, like whatever I can. And it's not to buy your love. It's just because like I love you. I don't want you to struggle. I don't want you to hurt. I don't want you to be without. I want you to feel loved and held and feel safe enough to be yourself. That's all I want. That's all. And no, you don't need to keep thanking me. As a matter of fact, it makes me feel fucking weird if you keep thanking me. It's like this is just how I am. Just like okay, thank you one time, good. That's that. It's everything squared away, right? So if you look at that, and I mean, technically, you're all strangers. If I can love you in that way, and you're a stranger, imagine the way I love people who are my friends, people who I allow into my life like family, people who I give the honor to meet my children, to enter my home, to break bread with my family. Imagine how well I treat them, how deeply I love and support them, where you pretty much would never have to ask. I would anticipate your needs just because that's how I am. So is it really a case of I'm just butthurt? Or is it a case of you were never really worthy of that type of love from me, but I give it to you anyways? And then you repeatedly showed me your true face, and I continued to ignore it. And then soul had you show me in a way that could no longer be ignored and could no longer be denied. And it just is what it is. And I'm not angry. I'm just now aware and realistic about your proper place in my life. That you don't belong with me. You don't belong around me. Do I wish you harm? No. I don't wish anything. I just know I need to stay away. I need to steer clear. So I think what's happening right now is for many of us, we're being presented with this opportunity pertaining to something in the past. What are you going to do with that? Are you thinking, oh, I'm just being in a space of ego and, you know, I'm being a horrible person. I just need to forgive and forget. You know, when you forget the things that someone has done to you in the past that has been intended to deeply hurt you, you then ensure you will repeat that again. And my soul is about efficiency. When you show me what I need to know about you and your character, and I finally believe it, and it's something detrimental to me, something that depletes me, that hurts me, that causes me to be in a space of confusion, self doubt, self abnegation, and sometimes even self hatred, you don't belong anywhere near me. It's not about me being stubborn and not wanting to forgive. It's about me finally realizing the only reason I allowed you to stay in my life is because I still wanted to punish myself. And you, my dear, have been more than willing to dish it out passive aggressively. Passive aggressively. So, do you return back to that same space where you are receiving exactly what it is that you need to receive? The awareness, the knowledge, Or is it just time for you to move forward, right? Move forward, not necessarily be angry, because really, do you need to be angry? Is there something you actually need to be angry about? Or is this simply you going through what you needed to go through to learn what you needed to learn? And now that you've learned it, do you need to revert back to that? And I think a lot of what happens at this point is you needing to decide. You need to decide how you are going to operate. What time is it in your life? Is it time for you to learn the same lesson again? Or is it time for you to really just, oh, I don't know, really just get to a point where you recognize this is an opportunity for an old cycle to repeat again? The only time I'm going to loop back around to an old lesson, because the path of soul is actually a spiral, it's not a straight line. It's a spiral. You loop back around to the same lesson that you've already been through, not so that you could repeat it again, but so you could see the ways in which you gave consent. And therefore, now you're positioned to withdraw that consent, therefore, eliminating the access to you. It's time for you to be your own celestial teacher. It's time for you to get to a place where your life lessons, the circumstance that you've lived through, is actually teaching you something about yourself, teaching you something about the ways in which you have allowed your kindness, your grace, and your patience to be the huge gaping wound from which the bacteria and infectious material from parasitic inception is allowed to enter into your body, into your temple. I'm so fucking good off all that. Let me tell you, I'm a germaphobe through and through. Fuck that shit. One of my kids went to the gym with me one time, and like people be fucking making fun of me at that gym because of the way I clean the bench or any equipment, to be honest. I go ahead and I thoroughly spray the equipment down like fucking soaked. And then I go ahead and I take the paper towel and I wipe it across the equipment, knowing that paper towel cannot absorb that much liquid. I'm really just using it to ensure every single portion of the surface is now saturated with a broad spectrum biocide. And then I take my time walking back to get another paper towel. Yeah. I wait at least 30 seconds to a minute, let that shit sit, and then I wipe it off. Why? I don't want none of your cooties on me. I don't even want it on my clothes. Ew. Ew. Some people have ringworm. They go to the gym with ringworm. They don't give a fuck. They don't care. They don't like um think about disinfecting and you know. And so when one of my kids went with me to the gym, one of my older kids, I was like, "Hey, did you clean your bench?" Because they were going to do the bench press. And they're like, No, I cleaned the bar really well." And I was like, "That's not where the ringworm lives." And they're like, "Ew." Yeah, clean the bench. I mean, they were going to clean the bench already, anyways. But I was just like, "That's where the ringworm lives. Clean the bench, bro." You can't allow this to re-enter your life. You just can't. You shouldn't allow it. Why? Why? Do you know why? Because when you allow something toxic that you've already escaped from re-enter your life, when you allow it to re-enter your life, um you're giving it an opportunity to successfully complete its mission objective of destroying you and your life, a mission objective they failed the first time. Their first attempt was failed. Now you're giving them another opportunity. Did you know that something like 99% of the drama that I've experienced from social media and being publicly visible all stems down to one fucking bitch? Not even joking. It's that one person. You know how they were able to do that? Because I allowed them back in after walking away the first time. I convinced myself that I was being a bitch because I hadn't done anything. My soul already told me walk away from that one. Yep. And I didn't. And then my soul told me to deactivate my Facebook account for a couple weeks just to quiet down. And that I didn't have any problem with because I have a habit of deactivating shit. Well, until I started working on social media. So I deactivated, but I let them know first, like, hey, I'm gonna kind of be radio silent for a couple weeks, just gonna deactivate my account. Everything's fine. But I just figure I need to spend more time with my kids, which I mean, that's all I did all day was spend time with my kids, but I felt like I needed more of that. So I deactivated. They freaked out. And because they freaked out, that freaked me out. And I was like, well, this fucking I'm blocking you because that's fucking weird. Like you're being weird about it. Like, oh my God, you're freaking me out. I'm a very skittish person. So yeah, that's why I walked away. And then maybe like a year goes by. I think it was maybe a year, maybe less. And I had convinced myself at that point the reason I have no friends is because I have trust issues and I will never have friends if I don't move past that. I'm the problem. So once I came to that conclusion, I then decided to reach out to that specific individual and reestablish contact, reestablish a friendship, at which point they abso-fucking-lutely use that as an opportunity. Like, yes, now I'm really going to fuck up your life. How dare you walk away from me the first time? That's my assumption. My assumption is based on their behaviors from that point forward. That was about 8 years ago. 8 years of having zero accountability for all the really fucked up shit that this person initiated in my life with zero provocation, had zero consequences to them. So they continued and continued and continued behind the scenes. They'd always find other people to do it for them. And if y'all think I'm assuming, the person they thought was their friend, who really was just using them in order to get an anchor hold in my business, forwarded me all of the conversations. Screenshot after screenshot after. I still have them on multiple devices. And to really drive the point home, um, I recently had to send out a legal notice to finally let this person know I will sue the fucking shit out of you. I'm not the same person. There are real fucking consequences at this point. Yeah. Somehow they managed to insert themselves into a recent circumstance. You know damn well they reached out to that person from the recent circumstance. Why? Because they always remain at the periphery of my existence. Jealous, wanting, 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 coveting, 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 wanting so badly the life that I live, the marriage that I have, the business that I've created. I'm not tripping. You need to give yourself credit for the degree of accuracy you have in your awareness of your life. I gave that person an opportunity to finish off what they began and failed to do the first time. And then I had to deal with it for the last 8 years. Complete with that. And this is my assumption at this point. And you guys have no idea who I'm talking about, so it's fine. But this is my assumption. They went ahead and they advised the recent circumstance to go ahead and file FBI reports. Except in order to file those FBI reports, there would need to be lies told on federal forms. Do you know when you lie on a federal form, that's a felony? Did you know when you lie on a federal form and you're receiving benefits, military benefits even? It doesn't even have to be like state benefits. It could even be military benefits. Government doesn't want people to have their benefits, from what I see. That's my opinion. Yeah, you lie on a federal form and someone reports that, there's a considerable likelihood that your benefits, including medical and whatnot, will be halted. So now I'm all about accountability. I will never allow that fucking shit again. Across my life, I am holding people accountable. I don't give a fuck. Some people might be like, oh, I mean, that's taking it too far. No, it's not. It's not. It's not taking it too far speaking the truth. It is taking it too far when you put it in your head that people can harm you with no consequence. Why? Because you deserve less? The work I do is the sole income. My husband didn't go back to work to support me in the work that I do, to help me stay organized and facilitate the time that I spend with our community in a public setting like this or in private sessions. You have to be very clear about what is actually being attempted on you. And all this shit can be avoided if when you walk away, you stay away. I'm not saying this from a space of trauma. I'm saying this from a space of transcendence, transcending beyond my limited perception that made me accessible to the most demonic, most malignant types of people. You need to allow yourself to exit the environments that are trying so hard to drown you. You have the strength to do it. You need to stop being afraid of what you're going to lose, because when you're dealing with something toxic, all you're losing is a toxicity. I promise you, boo, there's billions of people in this world who are willing to be toxic towards you. There's no loss. There's no loss. Now, for the people who are able to hold space for you in such a loving, profound way, sometimes it's gentle, sometimes it's just very like, hey, I need to call you out on what I'm noticing, right? Those people, absolutely. I would go the distance to make sure that I'm always worthy of their friendship and their presence in my life. Absolutely, yes. But toxic people, someone once said on a live stream, they're like, it was something along the lines of like, I just subscribed to you. And if you're not going to give me a scan, then I mean, I don't really know what I'm doing here. Then fucking leave. Leave. I wouldn't have noticed that you left. So you should have just left. Telling you right now, I'm not going to scan you. I'm not drawn to you. Your energy is shit to me. So I'm not going to fucking scan you. And your comment reiterates the fact that you have a really shitty mentality and perception of other people. Oh, they were so fucking mad. Be mad. Take your fucking anger somewhere else. I don't give a shit. Be mad. What? You're mad that you couldn't use me? I'm not a fucking influencer. I'm not. I run multiple viable businesses and I have been for several years. You notice I don't run ads. I'm not hell bent on increasing my following. I'm not an influencer. Following me as a form of transactional interaction with me? No, you want a reading? Go buy it on my website. You want something transactional? Go pay for that shit. That's how I feel with life at this point. Now, this is the most important part. When I'm drawn to do something, you don't even have to ask me, babe, I'll offer. And no, I don't care what your budget is. My soul told me to give this to you. It has nothing to do with money. It has nothing to do with money. My soul work has no monetary exchange. It is simply me listening to what my soul says and doing what it's asking me to do. Right? You need to begin having unconditional love for yourself. This unconditional love that you have towards the most toxic, most fucking flat out transactional people in your life. And see, here's the thing, transactional is not necessarily a bad thing. It's not. It's not necessarily a bad thing. However, if it's transactional with only one person benefiting from that transaction, fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. No. I don't need to be paid for everything I do. As a matter of fact, there is a huge amount of things I do on a daily basis that I am not paid to do, that is life altering for many, many people that I don't broadcast publicly. I just don't. That's my business. That's my business. I don't need to be telling people what. So you could be like, oh my God, you're a good person. I mean, if you can't see that I'm a good person without knowing the depth at which I give and love, even complete strangers, then I mean, that's fine. I don't need to convince you of something you're incapable of seeing on your own. I accept that people will see me from the vantage point they exist at. I get no say in that. I used to think that I got a say in it. Like, if I just give enough, then people will know I'm a good person, and they'll just, leave me to exist in the space of goodness that I choose to be in. It's not how it works. It's just not. People will see you in whatever way they need to see you. For some people, they need you to be a villain. So that's what you will be to them, even if you haven't done anything. I'll share this with you guys. One of my former associates slash we were kind of friends, casual acquaintances. She had a considerable reach, very popular in the spiritual community. I have a lot of respect for her. I do. She's done a lot of good work for other people. Um, we don't agree on everything, but we don't have to. We're two very powerful women, and we acknowledge that in each other. So it's beautiful. Um, one year, she was helping someone who had a son. He was like in, I think, I don't know if it's elementary school or maybe middle school. I don't remember anymore. It's been quite a few years, but she was helping someone, and it was, if I remember right, allegedly they were exiting out of a DV type environment, but I don't know. I don't know. I just know that my former associate, um, she was very much about empowering other women and helping them, kind of like an underground railroad type thing for DV survivors. She would use her expansive reach to try and find you somewhere safe you could stay while you piece your life back together. And then she would even try and gather donations, to kind of help you with, the basic necessities and whatnot. So the work she does is pretty profound sometimes, you know? So long story short, she did this for a woman and her child. And it was this thing of she was even able to secure, I guess, like airfare to fly them to a completely different state, where she had secured them some housing with a person who was part of their community. So this person was allowing them to stay in an extra room. And I got involved somehow because the state that they were flying into, at the time, remember, I was homeless and I was living in my RV, and we were just constantly, just constantly driving to all sorts of places. Um, and it just so happened I was going to arrive in town in the state where they were landing around the time that they land. So I happened to see my associate's post and I was like, hey, I'll pick them up. I'll pick them up from the airport and I will go ahead and I will take them to the store. Um, and I will purchase whatever necessities they need. My own money. It's not donations, my own money that I earned. Right. And so all of that happened and it was a very beautiful thing. It was very beautiful. We brought them to their new home with that community member who was generous enough to offer a room. Um, and before we did that, we did stop at, I believe it was Walmart. And I was like, you need pillows, blankets, clothes, whatever, just grab whatever you need, fill up the shopping cart if you want. That's fine. Grab whatever you need, snacks, tide you over at least for the next week or so. I'm all good with it. And then I brought them to their new place and we stayed for a few minutes just to make sure that they felt safe and okay there. And then I was on my merry way. My husband and I, we were on our merry way. And I think it was either like a couple weeks, maybe a couple months pass. And I'm not an active member in my associates community. We kind of just, there's this gray space where sometimes our paths will touch. And then sometimes we'll do some work together. And then usually we're very separate, right? Well, this individual who my associate helped reaches out to me. I'm kind of like, what's going on here? Oh, they had a lot of really bad things to say about my associate. My associate, that person is very like cut and dry. She's outspoken. We're similar in many ways. She's outspoken. She's not going to manipulate or, like she'll tell you straight up. She's not rude about it, but she'll tell you straight up. And that's how I know her to be. So this individual who she helped, my associate helped, reaches out to me, if I remember right, and starts talking mad shit about her. I was like, what? I'm sorry. Well, I'm not understanding what's happening here. I'm not understanding what's happening here. What's going on? Apparently, this person needed me to find them another house. They wanted me to raise the funds to find them another place, and transport them to another place because my associate was all of these bad things for not doing that for them again, a second time. And I was like, this is really making me very uncomfortable. I don't know that I could do that. I'm sorry. It's making me really uncomfortable. And of course, because I don't fuck around. You talk shit about someone to me and I don't know what's happening. You try to involve me. I will go to that person. I'll be like, hey, someone reached out to me and said this, this, and this. What is going on? Why am I being involved? Like, what's happening here? You know what my associate said? That this person had reached out to them, talked shit about the person who allowed them to stay in their home because I guess they had destroyed the home. I don't remember the full details anymore. They had stained carpets, they messed up the walls. I mean, they were only there for a couple weeks. Like, what the fuck? How are you going to do all that? And that there was an agreement that they would, after a few weeks of settling in, and I guess like they get their check or whatever, I don't know what it was, that they would start paying the individual like a very small amount of rent to help cover the cost of utilities and whatnot, because that, they're there and that's fair. And that they actually never paid the person and started talking shit about that person, and then tried to give a sob story to my associate so that they could cut that person out of the community and find them another person. And my associate was like, no, that's not how it works. And when I told my associate what was said, she said something ridiculously powerful to me that has stuck with me all these years. When people are done making you their hero, they usually then make you their villain. And I was like, oh, holy fucking shit. That's the pattern that I've been living through, where people will find me and turn me into this hero in their heads. I'm not asking to be, I'm not presenting myself as such, but they will turn me into a hero in their heads because to them, my existence and their proximity to them um, fulfills this need to be saved. And when I've done all the saving that I possibly can, they will then need to find another hero to get that hit. And once they find another hero, well, I mean, you can't be a hero if there's no villain. Because heaven forbid you're just a good person. And guess what happens when they find their next hero? The old hero automatically is volunteered to be the villain. And that solidified everything for me. There's nothing that I can do that can change people's perception of me. I can simply exist in my most authentic state and free people to think and see in the way that they naturally do. And if people are going to see me as wicked, as a villain, as whatever, then don't come around me. Why would you make yourself uncomfortable repeatedly by being in my presence? Well, what's the point of that? That's obnoxious. Go about your merry way. But Emmy, what about, shouldn't you explain yourself for what? Listen, I know what I offer, even when I'm not paid. I know what I offer. It's not a loss to me. It's an absolute, tangible loss to them, though. And just because they don't realize it yet doesn't mean anything to me. There are many people in this world who would benefit from my help and my presence in their life. I don't need to shed tears over someone who doesn't understand that they just walked away from someone who could quite possibly forever change their life in the most amazing, most empowering way without creating a dependency on me. Because if you're new to me, that's something you're going to see. I'm not interested in you being dependent on me. at all. I don't do codependency at all. That just like, we can be cool and coexist, have our paths cross here and there. No biggie. But the moment you begin to be like, no, you need to tell me where you're going because I need to know and make sure. No, the fuck I don't. I'm good. Find someone else to do that with. I don't do codependent like that at all. At all. At all, at all, at all. I don't like that kind of shit at all. Now, it's a whole nother thing if like you guys see me live pretty much every day and then suddenly I'm completely silent for a week and it's like, whoa, did something happen? And you reach out like, hey, just checking. You okay? You haven't been live. I appreciate that. That's genuine concern. That's not codependency. That's genuine concern. That's what people who love each other do. They check in on each other. If you're in a situation where that circumstance is a transactional thing, and to them, excuse me, they're entitled to all sorts of bits and pieces of you. That's like the gal at Costco who's working the sample station, being afraid that everyone isn't going to sample what she's there to provide samples for. So someone offers me a sample and I'm allergic to some of the ingredients, I walk away. Should they feel destroyed? No, there's plenty of people who come through Costco on a daily basis. You'll find someone else to sample it. They're not tripping. Live life in that way. Live life in that way. Unless you've already gone through the process, and that this takes years, the process to really understand that this person is an irreplaceable person in your life. You will never again have that kind of friendship with another person. You will never again be loved in the way that person loves you. Unless it's something like that, I don't know that I would spend so much time and effort trying to hold on to something that's trying to wiggle away. I'm good. That's usually when you get clawed. You know, have you ever tried to hold on to a cat that didn't want to be in your lap? Or a kitten, right? People think like, oh, it's just a baby cat. It's not a big deal. It's fucking the murder mitts. It's got murder mitts. It comes equipped with razor blades for fingernails. I'm fucking good. If a kitten doesn't want to be held, you go right ahead. Go on, gangster. Go wherever the fuck you're going. I'm good off you. No, thank you. I'm not getting clawed the fuck up for what? To hold on to something that don't want to be around me? You can't convince a cat to do something it doesn't want to do. Most people are like cats. You can't convince them to do something they don't want to do. So you just let that go. Again, it's not to say that I don't have a very small group of people in my life. See, my husband's laughing. In my life where it's like, I will never again have a friend like you. I will never again have a person that affects me at the depth that you touch me. And so I will always go out of my way to make sure that I'm worthy of your presence, that I can support you in times where you seek me out for support, that I can be a rock when you need a rock, or a lovely orchard when you need somewhere safe to lay in the softness, surrounded by fertile soil and ripe fruit to fill your belly. You have to understand the value of you and you have the capacity to love in that way. It should not be given to everyone and anyone. You know what increased my what they call social value? It wasn't intentional. It really wasn't. It was more of a need to survive being in the public eye. I'm not a celebrity of any kind, but public existence is a very weird thing. Very weird thing, because I don't know if my autism does it or it's my energy or I don't know what the fuck it does, but there's something about me that draws people, and then people, certain type, a certain type of person, character, um, they get it in their head that they should have more access to me than what they really should have. And I used to be a people pleaser, and I used to just give in and like, whatever you want, you can access me and message me whenever you want. And then, that access to me was the very thing that gave them the opportunity to create a lot of hardship in my life. And I'm just fucking good off that. I'm good off that. So I started avoiding people. I reverted back to my original state where I pretty much impossible to reach. Yeah. Yeah. Before I ever became publicly visible, I pretty much never answer the phone. I only answer certain types of text messages, even from family, because I'm just so busy being a mom. So yeah, I didn't prioritize being absolutely accessible. Now, if there's an emergency in the family, of course, I'm gonna pick up the phone and answer it immediately. But yeah, I just really would never allow myself to be accessible to that degree. Only to the people who I knew was a safe space for me, for my heart, for my peace, right? So what ended up happening when I reverted back into that space, um, it sent a very clear message. I understand the value of my time. I understand the value of my presence. It made me very elusive and exclusive. Unintentionally, of course. I'm just not a very social person. Um, and when that happened, it's when I was still on Facebook. When that happened, oh my gosh, the way people just clamored and went out of their way to try and be my BFF. Like, you stop, you're being fucking weird. Like, I don't even know you. Stop. We're not BFFs. Like, that's a fucking weird. You see, people sometimes only know your value when they can't access you anymore. So, what's the information that you need to know at this point? That you need to learn your value and you need to move accordingly. Welcome, Brandon Johnson. Welcome. I think we're at a point where we need to really make sure that we are aware of the ways in which we are spending our energy. There will be people who have no problem continuing to debit from your spiritual account. You give them your card, they'll continue to use that to debit and debit and debit and debit. Right? What if you become overdrawn? Oh, well, that's not their problem. Did you know that if someone takes your debit card and they know your PIN number, that's no longer considered fraud? I think that would be more of a civil suit than it would a criminal case, because um, I don't know, maybe it's different in different states, but it's this thing of financial institutions, they won't return your money because you gave your PIN number, you gave authorized access to your account. That's what that means. So, during this period of tremendous upheaval, this period of purification where your life and your journey are being purified, baptized through the flames, as they say, you need to be very careful of who you allow to have access to you, not out of fear, but out of conscious cultivation. of the sacred garden that is your divine journey. That is your divine space. You guys didn't know that? Oh my God. Let me double check, because my husband used to work in the financial sector. And he was like, don't ever use your PIN. And now I don't want to use my card at all. So I use his. Okay. So they need your permission. It is still considered fraud if they do so without your permission. So maybe the legality of it, it's still illegal, but it's very hard, very, very hard for you to get your money back from the bank. Um, if you give them your PIN number, let's see. See the maximum. Let's read this Reddit. Bank claims someone used my Visa with a PIN. Okay, so someone took their info while they were at the gym. They immediately stopped the card, and the person told me the transactions would be taken off my card within a week. Wow, $2,000 used for Walmart gift cards. Today, they called me back and said they cannot reverse them because PIN was used for transactions. See what I'm fucking saying? It was in 2024 when this person posted. I told them this is impossible because I've never told anyone my PIN nor shared my card with anyone ever. I filed a police report, but haven't heard anything back. Um, so it says, where is it? Oh, they're telling the person how to go after their bank. A bank will refuse. Yeah. Yeah. That's why my husband had told me that if you ever swipe your debit card, um, don't use your PIN. Process it like a credit card. Even though it's your debit card, it can process as a credit card if you have a credit card logo on the card. So, yeah. So, like I said, after he lectured me on that, I just stopped using my debit card and I use his. um, when I was 19, I gave my social security number to my friend like I did. I hope nothing happened of that. Oh my God. I hope nothing happened from that. Yeah. That's, see, your sensitive info, like we all know, if you're speaking to someone on the phone and they're giving you this storyline about how you owe this and that, and they need your credit card number, you don't give your credit card number, and you for sure as hell never give that security code at the back of the card, that 3-digit security number. If someone is asking you for your social security number through the phone, you don't give that either. You don't give your login credentials to any of your financial institutions. You don't this, you don't that. You don't do any of those things, right? It's the same thing with spirituality, you guys. Sometimes we're so starved for a depth of connection with others that when someone shows interest in us, and it's someone that seems they're presenting themselves as being very spiritually advanced, we trust them so deeply and we give them all this information. Right? You know what happens when you give a narcissist sensitive information about your life experiences? They weaponize that. They weaponize it. They use it against you. They use it to harm you. They use it to hurt you. Yeah. So, what do you need to do? You need to be very, very careful about what you allow into your life. Remember, this is a period where a full blown demonic thing has been allowed to enter into this space to wreak as much havoc as possible. And you guys saw that in the video I did about the message in mourning, right? That being is a jumper. It jumps through people. And its primary focus is to destabilize the environments that children occupy. So that's family units. It's family units. I once had a person who they were aware that I love children so much, not just my own, but just children, period. I love children. And they utilized their child. I've had this happen several times. It's like they leveraged um, a connection and fondness of their child to gain further, deeper access to me. And when things started to kind of become clear of how, like, okay, this is kind of a manipulative situation. This is not healthy for me. I'm kind of good off of this. They then went ahead and brought up their child. That's your child, not mine. If you think you're going to manipulate me on the basis of your child, that's your child. That's not my child. That's your child. That's your responsibility. I have my own children. You're not going to punish me by withholding access to a child. Because when you do that, I just tell myself, well, I'm going to miss that child, but the parent has made a decision and that's their child. So if you feel that I am not a good person to have around your child, thank you for informing me. Thank you for informing me. That's it. That's it. That's it. When parasitic things have an awareness of what avenues of exploitation can be used, they will use that. That includes the very people who you think are so spiritual. I'm not spiritual. I've had many years and many videos where I say I am not spiritual. I am not part of the spiritual communities. I do not identify as part of it. I do not want to be part of it. I don't want to be lumped along with them. I'm off doing my own thing, being my own person, being a mama. I'm just a mama who happens to know quite a few different things about random things, right? So, information is being released. I'm wondering if it's information you're releasing to people who shouldn't have this information about you, or if it's information that someone else is trying to get from you, or if you're about to find out someone has been doing things they shouldn't be doing. You need to put all the protections in place. All the ways in which you need to shore up your life, you need to do that. Speaking of which, the Baneful Protection Workshop is coming up in a few days. In a few days. If you would like to learn how to protect yourself, how to create formidable boundaries and enforce them, this is not about me teaching you how to target people. This is about negating access to you, right? Access to your home, access to your family. Then check out this workshop, the Baneful Protection Workshop. It's coming up, I believe, on the 26th. I am anticipating quite a bit of elevated caca. I hate saying these things because then it becomes true. And I'm like, ah. I'm anticipating a lot of dark elevated caca. And it's becoming very clear to me why Soul had me offer this particular workshop. So that's that. I also have the Morphogenetic Fundamentals workshop. This is where I teach you the fundamental principles of aura spectra bioregenesis. That is the energetic system that I was born into this life just remembering. I wasn't taught how to do the things that I do. I just know how. It's from previous life memories being left intact. And then also, for many of us, we are feeling and knowing that there are attempts for negative types of energy, I guess, trying to enter into the sacred space of our homes. This event is something that will be addressing that. So if you want to know more, click on the link or the QR code. And then last but not least, this QR code and link takes you to my Hoobie. My Hoobie is it's where you can find all the information about me possible. Everything that I do, events, private sessions, all of my platforms, my actual platforms, not the fake ones. um, this is where you can find all that information. If you're wondering about an event, if you're wondering about some information that I talked about, this is where you go. Okay. There was a question. Is a baneful workshop for those just starting their journey as well? Yes. Everything that I do is for those who are starting their journey and also for those who are already on their journey. It doesn't benefit you if you have previous education in spiritual, metaphysical, morphogenetic matters, because typically what I teach contradicts everything that is put out there. About 94%, 95% of what you are thinking is um, very solid, reliable information in regards to spiritual things. You take my class and you're like, but wait, didn't they say the opposite of that? Yeah, they did. They did. So it's actually better if you have no experience, because then you won't experience some degree of cognitive dissonance when I present the information to you. And it's not that you have to believe me for the information that I present. It's just that this is what I see. I've had quite a few people who have very advanced type of experiences in the field of metaphysics, morphogenetic recodement, and things like that. And they take my classes and they get frustrated, not with me, but it's almost like this thing of they feel like they can't absorb the information, they get confused, and it's because they're trying to make sense of how what I'm teaching fits into what someone else taught, and they don't mix. An example of this in spiritual communities, there's a very, very widely held and accepted belief of high vibe, that they only want high vibration, right? Okay, but a higher vibration is inversely connected to your frequency level. The level of your frequency drops because of its inverse relationship with the degree of vibration that you hold. Vibratory energy Vibratory energy is frequency that's internally held. So it causes you to become much more dense. It causes you to lessen in your degree of dimensional consciousness. And people don't like hearing that. I'm just like, I don't know. That's how I know it to be. So why would you want a higher frequency than a higher vibration? When you lower your vibration, most of that energy that you hold internally is allowed to be released and projected externally. When that happens, all of that harmonic discord that's held in the body, because these frequencies are being held in places they don't belong, which is what high vibration does. When that's released, the negative impact of that frequency on the surrounding region where it was held begins to dissipate. When you hold an energy inside your body, whether it's your auric body, your luminous bodies, your physical body, it doesn't matter. When you hold it inside, it begins to irradiate the surrounding tissues, whether it's etheric, energetic, or physical. It will radiate that. This is, in my personal opinion, and rooted in the work that I do. This is why we begin to experience things like tumors. The disharmonic energy that you're holding inside, it begins to irradiate the cellular region, right? And as that happens, the cellular expression of that genetics is then impaired. And when that happens, depending on the degree of toxicity that someone's experiencing, um, you can get a tumorous growth, which can be benign. Tumors are often densification of emotions and thoughts that relate to traumatic events in your life. If you're not toxic towards yourself and you're just holding it in, it tends to be a benign tumor. If you are toxic towards yourself and you embody a lot of self-hatred, self-abnegation, things like that have been programmed into you, that tumorous growth, which again, it's a densification of flesh that's rooted in emotions, unprocessed emotions and trauma. If you're toxic to yourself, that's probably going to be cancerous. It's high likelihood. So they don't teach that in other programs. What they teach is high vibe. One of the most toxic things you can do to yourself, because it's at that point where you are holding the very thing that radiates your cellular material. Do you know what cancer is? It's the failure in the apoptosis code. Apoptosis is the genetic coding that programs cellular death. Cancer is when apoptosis malfunctions and that cell continues to divide uncontrolled. That's what cancer is. Mm-hmm. So you need to be very, very, very careful. Very careful. Not afraid, mindful. Careful with the ways in which you allow all of these things outside of yourself to create disharmony within the self. Whatever information that's going to be released, whether it's on a global scale, a regional scale, a personal scale, a microcosm type scale, it's irrelevant. It will reverberate within you if you don't know how to process this. If you don't know how to shield yourself from the attempts to create chaotic disharmony within your field, which that demonic entity that I was talking about earlier, that's one of its specialties. If you don't know how to negate that, that's going to reverberate within your field. That oftentimes, given enough time, usually takes a long time, but people are ascending. So it's going to take less time. And depending on other factors, such as your specific skill set that's been cultivated already, and the skill set that you're unaware of yet, that's in the process of being activated. If you are a projector, if you are a manifester, if you are an amplifier, if you're catalytic in nature, those will increase the likelihood of developing tangible pathology within the body. All of that. So, and y'all, this is just a conversation. I'm not even teaching right now. What I teach in my programs, it's very information dense. That is why I charge what I charge. It's life-altering information. People think I'm getting paid because I'm scamming. No. If I was a scammer, if I was full of shit, there is no way my business would be sustained for the last almost 8 years at this point. And not just that, it has continued to grow. And people continue to come back. Why? Because I'm not interested in money. I'm not interested in clout. I'm not interested in competition or comparison. I'm simply going to continue to do the work that I do. And I will charge appropriately for the degree of work that I am doing. And I will not be apologetic for it. Also, if you're having a financial limit or a personal circumstance that prevents you from being able to do the things that you'd like to do within my programs, with my personal sessions, we work with you. I don't offer a sliding scale because the value of my work is the value of my work, and it is priced appropriately. Less than what it's actually worth, to be honest, but I feel it's appropriate given the circumstance the entire world is in. We work with you by creating a payment plan. And no, there's no minimum amount due every month. You take care of your bills. You take care of your family, your groceries, utilities, whatever it is. You got $5 this month? Send it over there. We're not sweating you. I've had some people take nearly a year payment plan to pay off one personal session, private session. Oh my God. It was the most amazing, life-altering session. You don't get shamed for having limitations like that. The payment plan is my way of encouraging you to believe in your capacity to make things happen for you. You want it bad enough, you make it happen. And I'll do what I can to support that. You make it happen. And for the people who do the payment plan stuff, it means so much more to them when it's finally their time to have their session. You guys, you are powerful. I used to do things for free, completely for free, for many, many years. I still do quite a bit for free, but that's private and I have to be the one to initiate it. So whoever's going to think they're going to message me and like, no, I don't go in the messages. My team handles that because I suck with boundaries. It's true. I suck with boundaries. I'm not ashamed. I'm working on it. I pretty much say yes to everything. So my team protects me from myself. They know when it's something that I should help with and they let me know. They let me know. They can tell. So, yeah, I realized all I was doing whenever I would do things for free, I was without words telling the person, I feel sorry for you. I don't think you can make it happen. So, I kind of just feel sorry for you. Just, I'll throw you a bone. I'll give you some crumbs. Like, you have a shitty life and it's kind of like, feel bad for you. I didn't want to send that message anymore. Because really, the things that I do for people, it's not out of pity. It's just not. I never move from a space of pity. And if I'm operating from a space of pity, that tells me something really fucked up is happening in this circumstance. Either I'm manipulating myself or I'm being manipulated by someone else. And hell no, that's not how this works. No. The information that will be released to you, you need to do something powerful with it. Okay. Whatever it is that I'm just, my knees are sweating. My knees are sweating. It feels like my elbows are starting to sweat. Okay. So it's time for me to go. Talking to you guys about my elbows sweating and drying off the elbows. Okay. Guys, trust in yourself. Trust in yourself. Make the things that need to happen in your life happen. Might take some time, might take a couple efforts, a couple attempts, a couple different approaches. It's beautiful. You're learning a lot. Every time you have to approach it from a different way because the last way you approached it didn't work. You're learning even more. It's not failure. The only time you fail is when you don't learn something in the process of doing what needs to be done. I've never failed in life. I have had quite a few redirections. I have had quite a few redos. It is what it is. But I've never failed in life. I hold that in my heart deeply. I've never failed at anything I do. Why? Because even if I have to be redirected every single day for that specific thing that needs to be accomplished, I will allow myself to be redirected. I will not give up on myself. I will not stop until I do what I've set my mind to doing. I won't stop. I won't stop. And the more fucked up shit that happens, the more I dig my heels in and allow my rebellious nature to be focused against that desire to quit. Don't ever quit on yourself. You can be mad at yourself. You can be disappointed with yourself. You can be flat out pissed off with yourself. Don't stay there. You can do those things. I'm not saying don't do it, but don't stay there. Move through it. Move through it. Allow yourself to process. One of the things that we tend to do, and we don't realize exactly what it is we're doing, we get angry with ourselves for being placed in the very circumstance that is teaching us how to transcend that limitation. How would you have transcended it had you not gone through it the first time and felt the way you felt? How would you have gone through it and known without going through it first? I don't hold it against people. Whatever is in their history, I don't hold it against you. Why? Well, that was a process you went through to learn what it means to be the person you're supposed to be. That's all that means to me. But I mean, you don't understand. A lot of people hate me. Okay, well, that's their problem. It's not my problem. I don't hate you. I don't. Oh, there's just one person I really dislike. I don't hate. But there is one person that I really dislike. Yeah. And because I'm a real person, to that one person that I really dislike, fuck you and your mama too. Bitch. Holy shit. Came from there. Came from there. Fuck you and your enabling mama too. And aside from that, life's good. Life's calm because I refuse to allow people to throw even pebbles in the stillness of my water. No. A ding 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 da ding ding da ding 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 da ding. But here's the thing. My expectation is not to have a completely still surface for the rest of my life. My expectation is to never allow someone with zero provocation to throw rocks into my water and disturb my stillness while I maintain an awareness and an acceptance that the winds of change, when they blow across the surface, they will naturally create ripples. And it's in those ripples that the entirety of me changes and pivots in place. And as I pivot, I'm not becoming a different person. I'm allowing a different aspect of my wisdom, my grace, and my character to be witnessed by those my soul has invited to witness. There is nothing about me I will ever hide. And that's the very reason I live so free. There is nothing someone can say publicly that I would be like, oh my God, how am I going to deny this? Someone once said, they made a public post. I remember shit. I have a bad memory, but I remember some shit. They made a public post. They heard something from someone else, and then they came to the conclusion that I have daddy issues, right? And then they made a post that they were saying that I have some wicked ass daddy issues. At which point I made a post. No, I went live. I went live and I said, yes, I absolutely have issues with my father because of the types of DV situations that I've witnessed through childhood. I absolutely have an issue with my father. He's actually not a part of my life. And these are things that I'm working on, not because I'm broken, but because I deserve to introduce myself to the healed version of me. The version of me that is a totality and not merely a byproduct of someone else's toxicity. They couldn't say shit after that. I'm sorry. You want me to be ashamed because one of my parents didn't know how to parent? That's not a skill issue for me. I was the child. Why the fuck would I be ashamed? Oh, some people think that you need to present yourself in some way. There's this public image of you, and then there's this real image of you, and heaven forbid someone sees how you really are. All you will ever see is really who I am. You've seen me in spaces of vulnerability and softness, spaces of kindness and grace, and you've seen me frothing at the fucking mouth, cussing someone out. It depends. How do you approach me? You approach me crooked, you approach me sideways, I will straighten your fucking ass out. You a straight shooter? That's okay. You tell me you don't like me? Okay. You go around my back and you start trying to gather up people because you don't like me, but to my face, you're nice, you love me. I love Emmy. Fuck out of here. I know what you're doing. I'm a real person. This is not a public persona. The channel is called Emmy Evolving because I am merely allowing others to witness me as I evolve, as a woman, as a mother, as a wife. That's why it's called Emmy Evolving. And I'm not ashamed about the process I go through to better learn the truth, not just of my nature, but of my divine purpose. Never be ashamed to be who you are. Because the people who talk the loudest about whatever flaws they think they found about you, they're usually the ones who hide the most. I got Capricorn heavy in my chart. I got Aries for my midheaven. And apparently my soul planet is Mars. Believe me the first time I tell you, I am built for karmic delivery. Do not invite me in your life if you're afraid of karma being delivered. And when I say invite me in your life, I'm talking about start shit with me, because really what ends up happening is the truth of you and your nature becomes exposed by me simply existing. Ain't that some shit? Yeah. There are those of us who are held in the most loving, protective way by creation. We don't have to do anything. Every single person who has tried to fuck with me over the years, that's been quite a few. The moment they did that, without me doing anything, they ensured their own destruction. They did it to themselves. Some things I will respond to, most things I won't. Why? Because I'm fucking special. That's why. My energy and my attention is special. It can't be wasted on the pigs in the pig pen. I don't think so. Your energy is special. Your attention and your focus is special. I'm not the only one special in our community. We're an entire community of special people. So what does that mean? That it's time for you to be selective as well. Not because you're better, but because you refuse to return back to the spaces where you operate in the most toxic ways towards yourself. I refuse. If you want to meet me where I'm at, a space of equality and co-creation, beautiful. If you think you're going to invite me to return back to that cesspool of self-hatred, who the fuck are you anyways? Ew. Go play with someone else. I'm not interested. I'm just not. You're disappointed? Well, I would be too if I was you, but I'm not you. So go away. Unless you're going to approach me with the best possible expression of you and your divinity, go away. I don't want any of that. I'm not here to be worshiped. What? Because you're complimenting me? I'm good. My husband pesters me with compliments all day. He does this all day. I'm not starved for attention. I'm good. I'm good. Now, if you're good too, maybe we can be good in a space of co-creation. I'm not opposed to that. I'm not opposed to co-creating. I'm not opposed to us coming together as equals and holding symposium, meaning you talk and I listen, and then I talk and you listen, and we consider each other's differing point of views and see how it fits into our own personal point of view. And if it doesn't, it doesn't. If it does, ooh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. But you don't have to fight. But just because I believe that doesn't mean I will lay down and allow you to stomp all over me anymore. Let me tell you. The only time I would lay down and allow you to stomp on me is so that I could grab your foot and break you at the ankle. Dislocate your knee probably too. That's what you fucking get. What do you think this is? A stage for you to river dance? Who the fuck do you think you are? You can't just do that to people. And if you want to just do that to people, then you shouldn't do it to me because there's consequences at this point. I won't be apologetic either. Not anymore. Not anymore. So I invite my community to enter into spaces of self-empowerment, self-awareness. No, you don't have to be like me or operate like me or really do anything outside of what you feel you need. You don't. You feel you need something, you feel like I could support you in some way. Beautiful. I would love to. If I'm able to, I would love to. Does that mean I have to buy sessions? No. Show up on these live streams. They're completely free. You need something more advanced? Okay, that probably will need to be sessions. You need it now, you have a budget. I go live Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. Expedites. Cheaper, faster. But you need my full attention, where it's just me and you in private. Okay, that's a private session. You're worth it. You're worth the investment in yourself. You're worth it. One of the most common things that I hear, no matter what the session is, at the end of the session, one of the most common things that I hear, Emmy, you completely changed my life. You've done for me in 1 hour what my therapist couldn't do for the last 10 years. And it's like, no, I didn't change your life. You did. You invested in yourself. And I simply showed up and existed. You made all of that happen. I didn't change your life. You knew I could change your life and you made the decision to change your life. And then you allowed me to help. I'd say all the credit belongs to you. All the credit belongs to you. So I gotta go. It'll be the best private session you'll ever have. Oh, thank you, Lexi. And if you want to send me a little update, Lexi, I get the teapot all nice and hot. I'm just saying, I got my cup out and just let a girl know. Let a girl know. Or you don't have to. I'm just saying. I'm open to it if you do. I'm very open if you do. So guys, please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please do subscribe, turn on that notification bell, join me when I'm live. And again, if you're interested in finding out about any of my stuff, whether it's what platforms I'm on, opportunities to learn with me, opportunities to all sorts of different events. I do all kind of different stuff. My church information, congregation like whatever it is, it's all on this link. This QR code and the link in the comment takes you to my Hoobie, which is basically a link tree, and you can go, scroll through that. Scroll through it and see what information you want or need to see, and then come back and join me again. I will see you guys again very soon. I must go now. I hope everyone has an amazing rest of your day. And don't let these energies get you too discombobulated. Clear it out. Movement is the best way to do it. Go for a brisk walk, go for a swim, go to the gym, do your boom chicka wow wow, whatever y'all got to do. You go do that. Move the energy so it's not built up, making you feel anxious. I'll see you guys.